Hello, and welcome back to the Strawberin0 channel. Today I am reacting to what is Warhammer 40,000. Feels really weird to say 40,000 instead of 40k. Timeline of 40k lore by Bricky. This is a half an hour video. It's exactly what it says on the tin, I guess. It's a timeline of 40k lore, so I will have a little bit of a better understanding how much time has passed between like major events. Obviously like Horus Heresy. I'm assuming what happened before Horus Heresy, and obviously how long ago that was before we are in the modern Warhammer 40k, pretty much what is happening right now in the lore. Yeah, previous video of Brickies that I reacted to about Space Marine Legions, I knew I'm gonna piss off some people with my fucking comments, and I saw that there are like a sizable amount of dislikes under that video. Guys, when I voice my opinions about Warhammer, I obviously know jack shit, and mostly it's just for good fun, you know. You rep the Legion you want to rep and don't let anybody convince you otherwise. Somebody clarified though that the Night Lords and the other Legion, I think Night Lords in particular, a lot of people pointed out that people like that Legion a lot because of its lore. Bricky kinda brought up its lore. I said they look really fucking edgy, and mostly I thought the other Vampire Legion was a little bit goofy. When Bricky brought up that they sleep in coffins, for example, I was, that's a little bit, you know, that's a little bit much. But Night Lords apparently have some amazing characters in lore. Obviously, I wouldn't know anything about that because that's getting too specific for what I know so far. I know very general things, and the only characters I know so far are the Primarchs and obviously the OG Granddaddy himself, the Emperor, and not even that much about them. Sorry, I don't take my words too seriously. I just wanna entertain you, and obviously I'm not an insider to this franchise, so some of the things, like sometimes I question things. I mostly question things to ask you guys for clarification. Like I asked also last time, because the Space Wolves Legion, Bricky said that they eat people to like learn their battle plans, and I was like, there's no way that's fucking true, and a lot of you people in the comments explained that it's actually all Space Marines have that. Not all of them, but a lot of Space Marines have that ability because they have a special organ for that. And a lot of you on that note recommended me a cool video about how Space Marines are made, what's, you know, inside all of that armor and inside all of their bodies, their physiology and whatnot, and I will definitely check that out at some point. And the other thing is, oh yeah, I asked what's up with Legion 2 and 11, and much like this can of Monster energy drink, they never existed. It's just something wrong with you, you fucking heretic, so stop asking about them. It was interesting to learn that I kinda assumed at the time, because I right after the episode I read that they are expunged from history and censored basically, and I immediately assumed that Games Workshop is either leaving place for future Space Marine Legions when they get like a really good idea for a legion that's not in the game currently. But somebody actually said that there was a plan for one of those legions to be like a customizable Space Marine Legion that you could write your own backstory for, but it's just as it sounds, it would have not fucking worked, so they kinda had to cut them out. At least that's what one comment said, and honestly it makes sense to me. They kinda have now like those two spots to basically bring them back in the future if they get a you know, some idea for a new Space Marine Legion or whatever. Yeah, cool stuff. I love learning more about Warhammer. It's such a cool fucking universe. God damn. It's just obviously, I said it before, the whole fun of Warhammer is collecting figurines, painting them, and well, there are multiple components. It's collecting the figurines, it's painting them. Those obviously go hand in hand, but not always, because you can always collect figurines, not paint them, and just play with unpainted models, which I think is a little bit frowned upon, but some people may legitimately be interested only in playing the tabletop at their local shop or whatever. Some may be interested more in like actually collecting them, making those cool ass fucking dioramas that Bricky keeps showing in his videos, and painting them, you know, making them look cool. Like, I don't really fit either of those. I'm not into tabletops, like face-to-face tabletops, and I'm not into like assembling models and painting them and whatever, so I probably would not get into that side of, obviously, this. And please, I know some people out there are going to misunderstand this as me like looking down on those things. Fuck no, that's cool, man. Like I said, when I see those dioramas, they are so fucking cool. Same thing goes for Gundams, for example. When somebody has like a really fucking cool unique Gundam that they painted in like some cool colors, I'm always impressed by that. It's just not something I would personally do because it's out of my sphere of interest, basically. But learning about the lore, on the other hand, like that tickles my fancy more. The lore is super fucking unique, and I really wanna explore those stories. And that's why I will definitely be diving into some games from Warhammer 40k that are, you know, at least the good ones, because Fire Warrior did not look like it's too good of a video game, but it at least had some cool like representations of the tabletop. So anyway, let's dive right in to Bricky's explanation of the timeline of Warhammer 40k.
In the grim darkness of the 41st millennium exists the Empire of Man, a backwards carcass of an empire comprised of many devoted forces, gigantic robot knights, religious machine cultists, and incredibly heavily armored women, most likely with sweltering abs. And one must know what those abs taste like.
Oh, okay. I was wondering where he's going with that.
My gamer subs flavor is here. Sweet six-pack has arrived.
What a man of culture. Oh, now Bricky is speaking my language.
A delicious and refreshing cherry pineapple blend. Play the sound. Yes, my Bricky's official gamer subs flavor is here. Sweet six-pack, not only in regular energy mode, but
I was just talking last video that we watched, I think about this, I think it was in that one about Space Marine Legions. He shown up his gamer sub like cap, and I was saying that gamer subs better get him his own like custom flavor. So I'm glad we are here. The prophecy is fulfilled, and it goes hard. With that fucking design that he has on his
but
cup.
Also in caffeine free. The cherry pineapple flavor is not the kind of flavor that just smacks you in the face. It is light, it is refreshing, and it's one of those things where you sip it and you go, not bad. And next thing you know, you are having your 4th refill the same day. And it is available now. Link in the description. Use code Bricky for 10% off your entire order. Not just for this, but for everything you buy. And I'm not dumb. If you buy any of these tubs, regular, caffeine-free of my sweet 6-pack flavor, you will get a Muscle Girl 32-ounce shaker completely for free. There are only a couple thousand of those shakers, so get it while supplies lasts. I cannot believe we finally have this, but I told everyone, like, once you find out the flavor, you'll be like, yeah, that tracks, and damn straight does it track. Sweet 6-pack available now. Code Bricky, link in the description.
That cup design, I wonder why he didn't mention again with his cup. But his cup design is really fucking cool. I really like it.
The age of knowledge and enlightenment has ended. The age of darkness has begun.
Damn, I thought we were talking about Warhammer 40k and not fucking Dark Souls lore.
Roughly 60 million years ago, there existed aliens. And these aliens lived short, painful lives. They belonged to radiation-stricken worlds and often died of various cancers before the age of 30. These aliens, the Necron tier, looked up to the stars and found extreme beings of real power. Beings with the ability to create life. The Old Ones of the galaxy. They asked these Old Ones for help.
Holy shit, this is kinda like Souls lore. More specifically, Bloodborne, of course, you know. But like all Dark Souls lore, like pretty much every single game that FromSoft made always, kinda like Warhammer, always takes place like at in the shit era of the universe. You know, with Dark Souls, the age of fire is has ended. In Warhammer, obviously, like there's different problems on different fronts. A lot of things are happening that are not very good. And from what I understand, it's kinda like it's definitely after the Golden Era, because the Golden Era was the era of the Emperor. What the fuck am I even talking about? Bloodborne is also after Old Ones fucked up the world already. Demon Souls is the fucking Old One again. Like a lot of Old Ones, eldritch beings, you know, the higher force coming to fuck shit up. And Demon Souls is also that, where the Old One woke up and he's hungry for some fucking souls. So a lot of like overlap between those things. I actually wonder, because FromSoft also makes Armored Core, I wonder if there are like a lot of fans of Warhammer 40k in FromSoft offices.
Help, please cure us of our ailments. To which the Old Ones said, piss off. So the Necron tier gathered together and did the sensible thing. They declared war upon these old beings and were promptly beaten into the dirt back to their short, painful lives. In the world of Warhammer, there is a hell. This hell is not like you and I know it. It's more of an afterlife, a place where dead souls end up. This place has many names: the Imperium, the Sea of Souls, the Imperium, and the Ether. But mostly, we just call it the Warp. While you and I know of hell as a place of horrors and punishment, the Warp isn't really that, not in the beginning. It's energy, but the kind of energy formed from thought and soul, psychic energy, where the dead souls of people end up in a place that is impossible to understand. No laws of reality exist. Like, time is merely a suggestion, and it is not something that can be braved easily. The Warp would be like sailing the ocean in a pirate movie. To jump from your ship would be certain death. To stay in the sea for too long on your boat could drive a man mad. And
that's a really cool comparison.
There are many dangerous things lurking in those depths. Yet the
like
sea
the
is
British.
Not evil. It simply is. Mostly. There are more malevolent beings in those waters, areas that you do not sail towards. This would be known as the realm of chaos. The realm of chaos exists in the warp as a special area led by 3 chaos gods. Khorne, the god of combat, murder, and slaughter, with a pile of skulls taken in his name. Tzeentch, god of change, mystery, and deceit, a confusing paradox of lies, schemes, and sorceries. And Nurgle, god of rot, pestilence, and Genshin impact. All things
Holy shit, he must be destroyed immediately. God damn. Yeah, this is pretty much a recap of what we already know by watching Bricky's videos
in the
so
end.
far.
And Grandfather Nurgle is waiting for you with open arms. These gods ruled their respective realm in the warp, sending their many followers against each other in the great game to be the most powerful of
That's a lot of titties on that one demon. What's he or she or it or they need all those titties for?
all the gods. So the warp exists. Hell is real, parallel to our galaxy, with the realm of chaos and its gods fighting for control. But there are also gods of real space, gods of the normal world too. They're called Catan, and they eat stars.
You think God stays in heaven because he too lives in fear of what he's created?
These star gods saw the plight of our poor Necron tier and how the old ones cast them aside and said, you know what? You guys want immortality? Oh, we will make it happen. We are the gods of the tangible, of real space. We can give you a cure. So then they ate all their souls and turned them into robotic automaton, feasting on their souls and leaving a hollow shell of an intelligence left that is technically immortal, with the power of an entire
Also powered by monster energy, judging by their color scheme.
species souls. They turned their new robotic slaves on the old ones and hunted them to extinction. The Necron tier, now the soulless, undying Necrons, got their wish at the price of their souls. But we can count the number of kind gods on an amputated hand. With time, the selfish star gods turned on each other, fighting one another for more chances at glory and power. With this, the leader of the Necrons, Zarek, the Silent King, the man who doomed his species when he accepted this deal, waited, planned, bide his time until he seized the perfect moment and turned his legions of undead citizens against the star gods. Gods cannot be killed, but they can be broken. So Zarek broke the star gods into thousands of pieces and locked them away in vaults, taking their free will away as they did to them, and sealed them away as basically Pokemon to be used as weapons in the future.
Who's that Pokemon?
It's Pikachu!
It's the Void Dragon.
Zarek then, with his perfect memory, exiled himself for his sins, flying out to the darkness between galaxies to atone for what he had done. This entire situation, the genocide of the Old Ones and the rebellion of Zarek, will go down in history as the War in Heaven. It is the most brutal war the galaxy has ever seen and ever will see.
But they got a cool name for their war, you know.
This was a conflict that took an entire galaxy-spanning species and pitted them against gods that ate stars. The Necrons, rather crippled from, you know, the war in heaven, decided to go to sleep in gigantic tomb worlds on various planets until the upstart species of the galaxy died out. And so turns out, when you have a war that lasts tens, hundreds of thousands of years and involves the genociding of multiple species, the old ones of the galaxy, and the consumption of souls from an entire race, the warp gets a little wacky. You know, if you had a kiddie pool and it was nice and calm, Khorne is over there.
My little pillow keeps moving, and that's making my sitting pose less comfortable than I would like. Yeah, again, this is something like Bricky already explained while explaining the Necrons. This pretty much tracks. This one, though, I'm pretty sure was not mentioned before in his videos, that the War in Heavens actually had like an effect on the warp. So yeah, I think this is like entering new territory for me already.
They're splashing about, so you don't really go in that direction. Nurgle has explosive diarrhea, so you don't really go in that direction either. But you can still kind of get in the pool. The pool's still fine. Turns out, when you add a couple trillion souls to that kiddie pool, it'll make the waves a little more turbulent. And turns out, a lot of them like to pick a side, Nurgle, Tzeentch, or Khorne. So the once calmer warp, the once relaxing kiddie pool, has now been bloated. A million years of war will certainly make Khorne, god of murder and slaughter, more powerful. A million years of war will probably make Tzeentch, god of deception and change, a little more powerful. And good god, a million years of war will make Nurgle, god of decay, oh, just the tiniest bit more powerful. Now, entering that kiddie pool is no longer fun, it's dangerous. The warp is now a problem. Hell is resembling hell a lot closer to what we imagined it originally. The Sea of Souls and the Realm of Chaos are now intertwined. So who else to brave the galaxy than a species that won't need to deal with that? The Eldar are space elves. They have a lot of the traits that you probably think of when you think of elves. Tall, slender, pointy ears, bit more androgynous looking, no matter what DeviantArt will tell you, and a bit stronger on the emotional side. The old ones, as I mentioned, could create life. And when they were getting, you know, absolutely bodied by the Catan and the Necrons, they made some new races to try to help them. One of them was the Eldar. It didn't save them, but they're here now anyway. Oh, and also the orcs, but they're busy right now. The Eldar are a particularly psychically powerful race, so they were really adept at being able to handle the new
Yeah, from what I know, like orcs are basically always fighting something. They don't do much other than just fighting things, which is, you know, that's cool with me. That's enough. That's enough of a backstory for a faction to make me go, you know what? They are kinda cool, aren't they?
turbulent warp of chaos and good at killing Necrons, hence why they went to sleep. Being psychically gifted is basically like being a wizard, but you get your wizard powers from hell. This is called being a psyker. And basically, if you want to do cool wizard shit like lightning from your hands or reading someone's mind, you can do that, but you siphon the energy to do that from the warp. Luckily, the Eldar are very good at handling this without too many negative effects because, you know, summoning power from the Sea of Souls with the new Chaos friends can be a bit of an issue. But Eldar are pretty good at it. And you see, what's really cool and also awful about Warhammer is that most developed species travel long, faster than light distances by going through that warp. They create a tear in reality to unreality and move through it. Faster than light travel? Cringe. We go through hell itself to deliver your packages. For those of you who play Minecraft, you know how the Nether is like a pocket dimension, so moving 10 spaces.
That's also a great fucking comparison. Holy shit, Bricky is on the goddamn ball with the comparisons this video.
In the Nether is actually moving something like 1,000 in the real world. That's basically what warp travel is. Just much like in the Nether, there are a lot of things that want to kill you. The Eldar found a way to do so in between realities. Not regular reality, not the warp, something else. A purgatory of sorts, a fabricated psychic realm that allowed them to travel without fearing the negative effects of the warp. The Eldar were the perfect fit for the new galaxy, and they took it with open arms and pointy ears. The empire of the Eldar spread everywhere, and it spread all the way until now, the 21st century. That's right, while you were watching NPC streams on TikTok, the space elves were ruling the galaxy, and they did so for quite a long period of time. The The 21st century came and went. Humanity grew and grew, all under the nose of their elf overlords. At this time, humans advanced, your classic sci-fi style way. We began to expand, colonize our solar system, terraformed our planets, created new and more powerful machines and starships. The age of Terra, also known as Earth, but we call it Terra here, was here, and existed between the 21st century all the way until the 15th millennia. Not much is known about this time, not much needs to be known. Humanity grew up, sought the stars. It's classic. Then came the years between 15,000 and 25,000, the age of technology, or to some, the dark age of technology. This is when humanity reached a new apex of technological understanding. When you think of sci-fi, there's a lot of things you can think of. Star Trek, maybe Star Wars style, you can go cyberpunk dystopian. The age of technology was deep sci-fi, like a scientific prowess that fringed on magic. This is also when the first ever psychers began showing up in humanity. Individuals with the genetic mutation to be able to access the warp, and then because of that, travel through it. Humanity was no longer constricted to their early ways of travel. With warp travel, they could go anywhere in the galaxy. They equipped ships with gigantic AI machines, with everything you would ever need.
There we go. I was waiting for him to say the words AI, and I can already see where this is going, because I don't think modern Warhammer uses AI like at all. Like, it's so weird because Adeptus Mechanicus turns themselves into machines basically, and they believe in machine god. But isn't like AI heresy in like modern Warhammer? And I'm assuming this is because there is going to be some AI rampancy problem, as it always happens in high sci-fi things. But that's a lot of assumptions. Let's see if any of them are proven true by Bricky in a second.
Need to know about mankind, and sent them out on colony ships to expand their influence across the galaxy. This was truly the golden age of humanity, and with every golden age, there is a fall. While the new human upstarts of the
an eclipse, you could say.
Galaxy were reaching new levels of technology and prowess, the Eldar were engaging in
Debauchery!
Debauchery! Debauchery! What happens when a species has everything? You can produce unlimited food out of nothing. Your need for farmers and workers, gone. You have dominated the stars and have created a fast travel system that doesn't rely on the dangers of the warp. You have nothing else to do. You have no struggles, no problems, and feel as if there is nowhere else to go. Well, you begin to experiment. The Eldar started harmless enough. You know, you take a serious interest in your species' culture, your arts, paintings, poems, plays. These are Eldar, elves, remember? Their emotions are heightened, more powerful than us humans. So your plays get louder. They start to push on the limits of your hearing ability. Your music becomes different, more deranged. It pushes the boundaries of what is art. The visual spectacle of art becomes more bizarre, more delusional, more eccentric. And let's not forget a very important sense. Touch. Pornography is one thing. I'm a virgin. Brothels is another. What if they all mixed? What if your brothels were part of your art and music? And what if those became more deranged? The boundaries of debauchery were not just met, but shattered. Next thing you know, murder is commonplace and often mixed with the art, music, and sex. Pain is a common byproduct of entertainment. Whatever sensation you can have must be increased, must be enhanced, must be taken to.
I kinda wanna, because I don't know if this will be stated, I kinda wanna know how long has this spiral with the Eldar been going on before like Slanesh came into existence?
The limits.
Because this is a very interesting like tidbit of history of Warhammer. Like, I find Eldar so fascinating, like their backstory. And like how Slanesh came to
The
be.
Eldar Empire slipped into a nightmarish realm of debauchery and excess, with the worst of it taking place in a city in the Webway, a black market for these kinds of heinous acts known as Kamara. Some Eldar saw the writing on the wall, saw what was happening to their species and how far they had slipped. So they boarded continent-sized starships called craft worlds and left their empire, seeking a more enlightened, calmer existence among their peers. Some, those in Kamara, pushed it to even greater heights, relishing the pain and torment they inflicted on those around them. All during this, the warp, the yin to the yang of the world, was fed by these emotions, by the psychic power of the Eldar, by the souls taken in these depraved acts on a galactic scale. And just like that, Eldar ended. Slanesh, the fourth chaos god, was birthed into existence and consumed the souls of 90% of the Eldar population. Those that fled were spared the worst of it, and those in the Webway and Kamara were able to stave off the pull of Slanesh so long as they continued to commit horrid acts of torture and violence. But for the majority of the Eldar, their empire died with Slanesh's birth. The new fourth chaos god, she who thirsts, the god of unspeakable excess of pleasure, pain, hedonism, and perfection, had been born. With the fall of the Eldar Empire came the ruin of humanity. Slanesh's birth sent storms in the warp across the galaxy, making travel between star systems impossible. Coupled with a huge classic AI rebellion.
Yeah, there we go. There we go. I fucking knew something like that is coming. And this is interesting because this wasn't mentioned, like the AI rebellion was not mentioned anywhere else in Bricky's videos that I watched so far. I wonder if it's such a insignificant footnote that they don't mention it, or
a staple in these sci-fi settings. Humanity began to suffer the age of strife. Now, planets that relied on intergalactic travel were completely cut off. Long-range messages normally sent through the warp were snuffed out. If you were a planet that was great at mining stuff but couldn't get food, well, you know that movie about the rugby players in the mountains? Oh, and because of these insane warp storms and fluctuations, psychers began to appear among the human population a bit more often. Now, this initially had them hunted down as witches, because that's pretty common in this setting, but some deemed it right to protect them. Unfortunately for those people, psychers, because they open a gateway to the warp, don't really know how to use their powers well, and they kinda attract demons, who then force their way through the psyker as a conduit of sorts and begin to slaughter the population of your planet. The Age of Strife was a catastrophic period of time for humanity and set back their progress tenfold over the not one, not two, but 5,000 year period. During this time, the age of humanity that we know began to form. Worlds equipped with large mechs for agriculture began to equip them with weapons to defend from alien and demonic invaders. Over 5,000 years, this became a custom and tradition, dubbing them as night worlds, a feudal society of honor-bound knights in gigantic robots that uphold the chivalric code to defend their worlds and honor. A group of individuals on Mars, after radioactively bombing their planet to become inhospitable to human life, ran their entire lives underground on the few life support systems keeping them alive. Those technicians who could work on the machines and keep them operational were revered, and over 5,000 years went from skilled members of society to full-blown priests. The cult Mechanicus, or tech priests of Mars, formed in the
there we go. The boys.
The Red Planet with a religious fervor and doctrine on the cult of the machine god. And on Earth, or Terra, techno-barbarian tribes waged war across the planet in a Mad Max style of blood and gore, until finally, a mysterious man who lived in the shadows of Terra for millennia.
Okay, so the Golden Age was even before the Emperor. Got it. That age was completely not known to me before this video, that there was a time where humanity was way more advanced than currently. but a lot of that happened.
He finally revealed himself to the populace. His name was the Emperor. He deemed himself the Emperor of mankind. Where did he come from? I don't know. Why is he 10 feet tall and the most powerful psyker of all of mankind? I don't know. Why is he basically immortal? I don't know. Where'd Cotton Eye Joe go? Who knows? But he's here, and he isn't happy with all of you ripping up Terra. So he began the Unification Wars, where he and a very early version of the famous Space Marines, the Thunder Warriors, reunited Terra under a single banner. With blood. Then, after taking over Earth, he reunited the Thunder Warriors into the fucking dirt. This is where we get the Imperium of Man, also known as the Imperium. The new faction headed by the Emperor of Mankind with a treaty signed with the Cult Mechanicus on Mars to spread out and reunite humanity after the catastrophic Age of Strife. But first, the Emperor is going to need some smaller versions of himself. 20 of them, 18 of them, I meant, gene-crafted sons of the strongest human to ever live. All of them possess unparalleled strategic power, intelligence, formidable strength and size, a real powerful force to unite humanity and stop the chaos of the current galaxy. Speaking of chaos, you ever seen that image of that guy? It's like throwing the baby like a basketball. It's about what happened. The Chaos Gods intervened and grabbed the 18 Primarch gestation pods and yeeted them across the galaxy at a whim, everywhere they could possibly go. A galactic game of keep away. So the Emperor had to get them back. So begins the Great Crusade, a crusade across the stars to reunite not just humanity, but
So that's why they are so fucking different from one another. That I did not know also. Makes sense, to be honest.
the Emperor with his fallen sons. The first to be found was Horus, one of the strongest and most noble sons. The Emperor carried with him a legion of newly crafted warriors.
What a great father and son relationship. I'm sure nothing will go wrong in the relationship. Yeah.
With genetic material made from their Primarch father. These are the newly made Space Marines. For Horus, his were the Luna Wolves. And as the Emperor continued on his great crusade, he found more and more of his sons, reuniting them with their individual Space Marine legions. Leman Russ, the cunning hunter with the Space Wolves. Rogel Dorm, the Phalanx with the Imperial Fists. Angron, the Barbarian, the very angry with his World Eaters. Fulgrim, the Perfect, with his Emperor's children. And Jagatai Khan, the Swift, the Stoic, and his white scars. Those were just some of the 18, and one by one his lost Primarch sons were returned to him, and their Space Marine legions returned to them. The Great Crusade saw humanity once again reconquer the stars, returning worlds of humanity back to the Imperium and killing any and all who stood against their noble crusade. But in the years of the 30
Okay, so it was like a second golden age. Obviously, the first golden age was way better because there were very much fewer problems in the galaxy. But like, still, yeah, okay, the Emperor's reign was pretty much the second golden age of humanity. Gotcha.
31st millennia, treachery would break this all apart.
Men, we don't know what we did.
Horus, the Emperor's most beloved and favored sons, named War Master for the Crusade, succumbed to the power of chaos and daddy issues, all because of that bastard Erebus. Yo, fuck Erebus. Slowly, Horus would become corrupted, turning the Emperor's sons against him. This begins the most pivotal moment in our story, and the one that has like 50 books written about it, the Horus Heresy. Half 9 of the 18 Primarchs turned against the Emperor, and the following years were a bloody battle for the throne of Terra. The Emperor originally was working on a special webway project, just like the Eldar, to make faster-than-light travel significantly easier and safer, really improve humanity to allow them to conquer the stars without the risk of the warp. Well, this big red idiot named Magnus kind of blew a hole into that, literally and figuratively. So Big E over there is stuck on a gigantic golden throne, holding back the oncoming rush of demons and powering the Astronomicon, basically a big North Star for people who are sailing in the warp to help them navigate. The Horus Heresy saw many loyalist and traitor legions pitted against each other in a bloody war until it reached Terra itself. Horus, unable to break through the lines and with time running out, made a gambit and opened his ship up to be boarded. The Emperor took this challenge, quickly allowing someone else to take control of the throne as he teleported his way onto Horus's flagship, the Vengeful Spirit. The Emperor, unable to truly kill his most beloved son, changed his mind right quick when Horus strangled the life out of his other son, Sanguinius.
Oh no!
I'm sure you've seen this image at some point. The Emperor then said,
I'm not gonna sugarcoat it.
and proceeded to psychically blast Horus into complete oblivion, killing not only his body, but also his soul. Horribly wounded from this duel, the Emperor is returned to the Golden Throne in order to keep the demons at bay and power the Astronomicon, because without it, humanity would be flying blind. There he sits, slowly dying from his wounds and the strain of powering the Golden Throne. The only thing keeping him alive is feeding upon the souls of 1,000 Psykers every single day. This was 10,000 years ago. We are now in the 41st millennium, modern day. Warhammer 40,000. The Emperor remains on his throne. The Imperium is a rotting carcass of an empire, a fascist, xenophobic cult that worships the Emperor as a deity despite him never wanting to be seen as a god. Over the span of 1 million worlds, the ecclesiarchy, the church of the Emperor, is spread throughout. Inquisitors with unparalleled power root out any sign of heresy or lack of devotion to their god Emperor. The other half of the traitor legions move about as Chaos Space Marines, raiding and pillaging the Imperium, while the loyalist half does their best to keep the Empire alive. All throughout this, they must endure Orc invasions, Eldar trickery, the reawakening of the Necron race, and the Great Devourer, the newest Tyrranid threat from the darkness between galaxies that has arrived to feast on their worlds. The theme of Warhammer 40,000 is regression and intolerance. Every major faction in Warhammer has had an empire that spanned the galaxy only to be crushed back to a hollow shell of what they once were due to their own failings. Culture, the arts, personal freedom, religious tolerance, the simple possibility that alien life might not want to kill us is considered heretical and is often met with a pistol to the head. There is no time for these things. All there is time for is worship of the God Emperor and a million wars to be fought. To be a human in the 41st millennia is 99% of the time to live a horrible existence, to be one of trillions of other humans across a million worlds throughout the galaxy. A galaxy where AI is outlawed, so humans are repurposed and lobotomized to become slaves. A place where lack of devotion is met with death. And if you even have devotion, there is a good chance the threats to the galaxy, chaos, and aliens will kill you anyway. Warhammer is a world where you revel in being bad. There are protagonists, there are antagonists, but every faction is some shade of evil. Because playing the bad guys is always more fun. And my friend, you have a selection. So pick up that las gun soldier. You and the other 3 million men and women in this single deployment on this single world in this single battle will now show them the might of the God Emperor. That weapon in your hands has killed 99% of the alien populations in this galaxy. Unfortunately for you, soldier, you're fighting the final 1%. May the Emperor be with us. Glory to the first man to die.
Man, that's also true. Holy shit, the aliens have the biggest survivorship bias advantage ever, because only the strongest fucking things that could withstand like all of the chaos and the conquering of by humanity survived and, you know, started repopulating, because when you start, when your species runs into a problem where there is less and less of you, you start repopulating, and now those survivors of your efforts are having children, and they are as strong, if not stronger than them. Holy shit, I never even considered that. God damn, that's unfortunate.
Die, for in the grim darkness of the far future, there is only war. Thank you, everyone. I hope I have helped teach you about Warhammer.
Before I share my final thoughts and like summary, I'm obviously gonna let Bricky speak.
If you are a brand new person and you want to get a
That's me!
bit more about the world, there are multiple books that do a great job at showing off how the entire universe operates. For the most part, Warhammer is a setting, and often stories are told in that setting with a Warhammer coat of paint. Gaunt's Ghosts is Band of Brothers, but Warhammer. It's honestly one of my #1 recommendations for new people. Assassinorum Kingmaker is an assassin novel involving those night worlds. This is Mission Impossible, but Warhammer. Bloodlines is Blade Runner, but Warhammer. And the list goes on and on. If I had to recommend a brand new novel for a first-time Warhammer enjoyer, these are the 4 I would recommend. Horus Rising, Caiaphas Cain, First and Only Gaunt's Ghost, and Infinite and the Divine. They are all fantastic novels, and they will get you acquainted with the world without needing to know too much. Thank you all so much for watching this video. Get yourself a Gamer Subs flavor. Enjoy the new sweet 6-pack. And if you're curious and you want, you know, just a little lord, you can find him in the description as well on my merchandise store, orchid8.com. Thank you for watching, and may the God Emperor be with us.
Come on. Obviously, you're a skater.
Okay, very nice. Okay, I'm gonna pause here. I would really like to hide those 2 buttons only so I could shill like Bricky's site more. That's orchid8.com with some cool ass fucking shirts apparently. And this video was mostly what I already learned from other Bricky videos, but a lot of context was added in my mind, like, that golden era, I always assumed, like, the best that humanity had going for it was when the Emperor was, running everything. But that's not necessarily true, because the arguably humanity was better off during its first golden era, where, like, the technology peaked, like we had AIs that eventually went rampant, and way less problems with chaos and the warp, and Slanesh did not exist because the Eldar were in the process of making it. So yeah, and then Emperor is basically the second golden age, and now that golden age is like already pretty much extinguished, and whatever else is left kinda sucks a little bit. It used to be way better. Mostly only learned about humanity because the Necrons fighting the gods, Bricky summed up in his like faction breakdown. Same with everything that happened with Eldar and Slanesh, even had more details like in those videos where he was breaking down the factions. So only really learned new things about humanity, and like humanity is like the most central to all of Warhammer, so it's a given that you should know mostly about them first. I do wonder what's up with Tau. Tau so far, like the Tyrranids, for example, they are we did not discuss Tyrranids like almost at all in those videos, but we don't have to, because Tyrranids are basically Zerg from StarCraft. They are, you know, a hostile alien invader. It's basically an animal. It's not really like a thinking thing. Hive mind of animals that want to eat and repopulate. So there's not much to talk about them. The orcs, in the same way, are kind of basic. I know that there are a lot of different stories about a lot of different factions. There are special orcs, there are special humans, there is special everybody, so it's not that simple, but in great summary, yeah, orcs are fighting whatever the fuck they see on the horizon, and if they don't see anything, they start fighting between each other, from what I understand, so... But when it comes to Tau, I still don't really know what's up with them. Like, where did they come from? I know their motivation is kinda like to do the greater good, and I think, they even accept other races into the Tau to fight for the greater good. But I barely really know anything about them. And it's so weird that, like, mostly when everybody mentions Tau, they mention the tabletop context, not their lore. I don't know if their lore is lacking, or if there are, like, still not a lot to it. I don't know what's up with that, like, at all. But great video as always, really enjoyed it. Bricky has great production value. I enjoy his bits, him zooming around the screen, the different arts and cutscenes he shows off to make his point. It's all so fucking cool. Really great place to learn more Warhammer lore. I like how Bricky kinda says, oh, if you're a newcomer, here are those books I recommend. But to be honest, Bricky does probably a lot more than a lot of supplementary material for this world, like just his videos breaking down, and other YouTubers. There are obviously a lot of YouTubers who talk about Warhammer. Like Bricky and other YouTubers do a lot to introduce people to this setting, and I really appreciate that, and I hope he understands his role in bringing this universe to other people is a vital and appreciated one, and his videos are fucking amazing. So links to his video are in the description. If you are somehow not subscribed to him, I highly recommend it, because this is quality stuff. And I will see you guys in the next one. Take care of yourself and drink plenty of water. Like, now it's not so important because summer has ended, but still, you know, drink plenty of water, just in case.